Good afternoon. Today I am going to take sexually transmitted diseases, which is very important in your future also. What are the what are the organisms that are responsible for the sexually transmitted diseases are all described in this chapter. If you see this sexually transmitted diseases, it is a group of contagious disease. Group of contagious. It is a contagious group which is transmitted either directly through sexual route or through close contact. If you see this for the last 2 decades, there is an increase in the sexually transmitted diseases. These are the most common communicable diseases. These are very delicate organisms and do not remain viable in outside environment. Okay, outside environment or outside the body. So it needs for its viability, it needs a mucous membrane. Needs for viable, not only for its viability but also for its transmission. And what are the etiological agents responsible for the sexually transmitted diseases? Here I am going to classify some organisms which are classified based on the manifestations. First one is genital discharge. Okay. Here again, these are of genital discharge contains some organisms responsible for causation of some infection there. First one is Neisseria gonorrhea, the most common organism responsible for the gonorrhea. And next one is Trichomonas vaginalis, responsible for the causation of the Trichomonas vaginitis. Besides this, we have another group of conditions. That is non-gonococcal urethritis. Usually in gonococcal infection, we will see the urethritis. Besides with this gonorrheal infection, some organisms are also responsible for the urethritis. They are grouped as non-gonococcal urethritis. The organisms responsible for non-gonococcal urethritis are Chlamydia trachomatis, Ureaplasma myrionyticum, Mycoplasma hominis, and Candida albicans. Okay. Sometimes it may be given as a very short also. What are the organisms responsible for non-gonococcal urethritis? They will give like that. You have to give some examples. These are some examples: Chlamydia trachomatis, Ureaplasma myrionyticum, Mycoplasma hominis, and Candida albicans. And next one is bacterial vaginosis. Besides this, gonorrhea, Trichomonas vaginitis, and non-gonococcal urethritis, which are responsible for genital discharge. Other most common thing condition that is usually seen in women are bacterial vaginosis. What is this bacterial vaginosis? This is the condition most commonly caused by the Gardnerella vaginalis. Sometimes this bacterial vaginosis can be given as a short notes on your exams. So the most common this condition, the bacterial vaginosis condition, is most commonly caused by organism is Gardnerella vaginalis. Here, this Gardnerella vaginalis usually seen as a gram-negative bacilli. Okay, gram-negative cocobacilli. Gram-negative cocobacilli. Besides this, some anaerobic organisms are also like Mycoplasma hominis is also responsible for the in combination with this another anaerobic organisms responsible for bacterial vaginosis is Mycoplasma hominis. Not only that, bacteroids species and Mobilicus curtisi, these organisms are also responsible for the bacterial vaginosis. What you will see in this bacterial vaginosis? Here in this condition, you will see profuse discharge from the cervix. Okay, profuse wide discharge from the cervix. You'll see cervicitis and cervicitis, and there is an increase in the pH, vaginal pH, that is more than 4.5. If you see the microscopic picture, you'll see the clue cells. That is the most important characteristic feature of the bacterial vaginosis. What is this clue cells? Clue cells are nothing but the this vaginal epithelial cells under the microscope picture, a Gram-Stein picture. We'll see this vaginal epithelial cells are started with gram-negative pleomorphic bacilli or curved bacilli. Okay, there is a decrease in the lactobacilli in this condition. In bacterial vaginosis, you'll see the decrease in the lactobacilli, which acts as a normal flora in the vagina. Okay. Besides this, there is a increase in the vaginal pH, that is more than 4.5. Presence of blue cells and epithelial cells are started with gram-negative bacilli or curved bacilli. Okay. These are the important features of the bacterial vaginosis. Okay. Next. We have seen about this causative organisms of genital discharge. Next one is genital ulcers. Some organisms causes painful ulcers. Some organisms doesn't have any doesn't produce produces the painful ulcers. They are painless ulcers. Painless ulcers are caused by Treponema pallidum, responsible for the syphilis, and Chlamydia trachomatis, which is responsible for the lymphovenereum, granuloma venereum, and donovanosis is caused by Calymatobacterium granulomatis. This other name for Calymatobacterium granulomatis is Klebsiella granulomatis. Okay, these are the organisms responsible for the painless ulcers. Next, what are the organisms responsible for the painful ulcers? They are Haemophilus degree, which causes a chancroid. Here in this syphilis, Treponema pallidum causes chancre. So you have to differentiate between the chancre and chancroid. Chancroid is caused by Haemophilus degree. Chancroid is also a soft sore, whereas this the Treponema pallidum causes painless ulcers, which are hard in nature. Next, painful ulcers are also caused by herpes simplex type 1 and type 2. This is nothing but herpes genitalis. Okay. Next, after this genital ulcers, other classified things are non-genital lesions. No, there is no genital lesions, but only systemic manifestations. Some organisms causes only systemic manifestations without showing any genital ulcers, but they are transmitted sexually. They are HIV virus, hepatitis B virus, and hepatitis C virus. These viruses can be transmitted through sexual route, but that doesn't show any genital ulcers. Okay. Next, miscellaneous organisms which are responsible for sexually transmitted diseases are Shigella species. First one is Shigella species and Campylobacter species. Group B streptococci. This group B streptococci, infection in a woman usually causes meningitis in neonates. Meningitis in neonates after delivery. Next, miscellaneous group of organisms includes human papilloma virus. It is also called HPV virus, which is responsible for the which is responsible for cancerous condition and cancerous condition of the cervix. And next one is molluscum contagiosum virus. This molluscum contagiosum virus usually produces pink warty-like lesions near the genitalia. Usually seen this type of infection in adults. And next one is cytomegalovirus. This is also usually this cytomegalovirus usually transmitted by salivary droplets. Not only by salivary droplets, this cytomegalovirus infection is also transmitted by sexual route. Parasites which are responsible for which are transmitted sexually are Entamoeba histolytica, and Giardia intestinalis. Okay. Besides this, we have another organism is also there, that is Trichomonas vaginalis, which is a Trichomonas vaginalis. This is about the classification of the sexually transmitted disease, diseases caused to organisms. So you have to remember this classification, because in your exams it may be they make you examiner may give as classify genital classify genital ulcers, and explain about the syphilis or syphilis and its diagnosis, like that they will give. Sometimes they may ask classify the sexually transmitted diseases, and they may ask a single organism. Okay, this is about the etiology of the sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, and next, if you see the urethritis, urethritis is nothing but itis means inflammation. So urethral inflammation. It is mainly due to some infections like Neisseria gonorrhea or by non-gonococcal urethritis. Usually follows the sexual contact. If we see the manifestations of this infection, first and most important manifestation is urethral discharge. Here in this gonococcal infection, a purulent discharge, profuse discharge can be seen from the urethra. Okay, in this in gonorrheal infection, and in women. In women, vaginal in case of in women, profuse watery discharge is seen in chlamydia trachomatis, or white thick discharge. Thick white vaginal discharge is seen in Candida albicans. Next one is watery discharge is seen in Trichomonas. Frothy white discharge is seen in Trichomonas vaginalis. These are some conditions where these different types of vaginal discharges can be seen. This is a picture showing purulent discharge expressing from the penile area, which is coming from the urethral area. And this is another picture, your left side picture showing the cervix, and right side picture showing the penile, first coming from the penile urethral area. And your left picture showing the discharge, purulent discharge coming from the cervical area in female. And this is the picture showing the frothy white discharge coming from the cervix. Okay, this is the cervical opening. Okay, frothy white discharge. This frothy white discharge is seen in condition of trichomoniasis in women. And this is a clear picture showing the bubbles, frothy discharge. It's also is one of the conditions seen in trichomoniasis. And this is a picture showing the cervix. Okay, This is close-up picture showing the cervix with thick wide discharge. Results from the candidiasis. Okay, cervical area. This picture showing the cervix. Cervical area showing thick, wide, curly discharge. Next, if you see the laboratory diagnosis of this urethritis, the sample that we collect, from the areas like urethral, vaginal, cervical, and cervical discs are examined and cultured. In case of gonorrhea, Gram-Stein picture itself shows. Gram-Stein picture of the gonorrhea itself shows profuse pustules, profuse pustules along with gram-negative diplococci. Okay. Whether it may be present in intracellular or extracellular. And in case of trichomoniasis, a wet film is prepared from the vaginal discharge and see is there any trophozoites of the Trichomonas vaginalis. Next one is candidiasis. In this condition, we'll see in Gram-Stein picture, we'll see budding yeast-like cells with the pseudohyphae. Okay, with the pseudohyphae. Either Gram-Stein picture or Batman picture, we'll see this budding yeast-like cells with budding yeast-like cells. For laboratory diagnosis of non-gonococcal urethritis, for chlamydia trachomatis, Giemsa stain is used to observe the intracytoplasmic inclusion bodies. Okay. To see the intracytoplasmic inclusion bodies of the chlamydia trachomatis, we'll use the right Giemsa stain. And tissue culture is also used for the detection of this chlamydia trachomatis. Tissue cultures like irradiated McCoy cells is commonly used for detection of this chlamydia trachomatis infection. Antigen, chlamydia trachomatis, antigens are also detected by the immunofluorescence or by ELISA. Okay. And this is a picture showing the numerous polymononuclear leukocytes with extracellular gram-negative diplococci. Gram-negative diplococci. They are kidney shape. Okay, kidney shape diplococci gram-negative bacilli, gram-negative cocci. This is a picture showing gram-negative cocci extracellularly and gram-negative cocci intracellularly. Diplococci. These are all diplococci. Indicates the person is suffering from the gonorrhea. And this is another picture showing the pustules along with the gram-negative diplococci. This is one example of gram-negative cocci. Gonococci is one of the example of gram-negative cocci. Another example is Neisseria meningitis. And this is the picture showing the Trichomonas, trophozoites of the Trichomonas vaginalis. Trichomonas vaginalis. Trophozoites, these are all trophozoites, flagellate. And this is the picture showing the gram-negative, gram staining. This is a picture of gram staining. This is the picture of wet mount of 10% KOH. Here it shows the chlamydospores, pseudohyphae, and this is the picture showing the gram-positive budding yeast-like cells. Indicate the person is suffering from the vaginal candidiasis or genital candidiasis. If you see the ulcers, we have painless ulcers and we have painful ulcers. If you see the chancroid, which is caused by Haemophilus dacri, which is chancroid is also a soft sore, whereas syphilis, primary syphilis causes the hard sore. It is also called chancre. You have to differentiate this both ulcers. If you see the chancroid number, this is multiple in number, which is ulcerated, margins are irregular, painful, and pupil can be seen. Mild enlargement of the lymph nodes are also seen. Whereas in case of syphilis, which causes a heart sore or chancre, this is usually usually solitary in nature. In rare cases, a few ulcers can be are seen. This is usually a circumscribed, whereas in chancre, it is irregular it has irregular margins, whereas here these margins are circumscribed margins. This is a painless ulcer, which is indurated and discrete, rubbery-like in nature, and mild lymphadenopathy is seen in this condition. And this is a picture showing the syphilitic chancre, which is solitary in nature. A circumscribed ulcer on the penis. And this is another picture showing a solitary ulcer on the prepusal area. Circumscribed ulcer, also called heart sore or chancre. This is another picture and the ulcer on the penile area, and this is a picture showing a solitary ulcer, a solitary chancre near the labia majora. This is the picture showing the multiple ulcers. In case of syphilis, we will see the usually single solitary ulcer. In chancroid, which is caused by Haemophilus ducreyi, a few ulcers are seen on the genital area, which has irregular margins. Okay, irregular margins with mass discharge. This is a painful ulcer or soft sore. If you see this, if you see the microscopic picture, microscopic picture of this Haemophilus, microscopic picture of this discharge. In case of Haemophilus ducreyi, we'll see parallel rows of chains. Parallel rows of chains appears like railroad track. Okay, railroad track. Sometimes they may be arranged in groups also, or in clumps also. Sometimes they may be arranged, but usually they are arranged in chains, parallel chains. Appears like railroad track. These are gram-negative Coco-bacilli. This is another picture of chancroid. This is another picture of chancroid in human. Irregular margins. Next one is herpes. This herpes in herpes simplex ulcers are multiple in nature, small, multiple in nature, usually seen in the genital area, caused by HSV1, HSV2. Usually this HSV1 causes ulcers, maculopapular rashes above the umbilical region. Sometimes the HSV1 also causes genital ulcers also. If you see the laboratory diagnosis of this genital ulcers, for Haemophilus ducreyi, in gram stain, they are arranged in strands or parallel rows. They are gram-negative Coco-bacilli. For syphilis condition, Treponema pallidum can be identified by different special stains. One of them is Fontana stain. In this case, we'll see the spiral organism. Dark brown microscope is also useful for the motility of this spirochetes, which exhibits a spiral movement. And for scrapings from the ulcer, shows usually take scrapings from the edges of the ulcer. Here in this case, Giemsa stain, right? Giemsa stain is used for detection of the intracellular bodies in case of Klebsiella granulomatis, which indicates the Dorovanosis. And in case of HSV type 1 and 2, intranuclear inclusion bodies, presence of intranuclear inclusion bodies inside the internuclear inclusion bodies inside the giant cells indicates the HSV type 1 and type 2 infection. Jagsmere is also used here in this for diagnosis of this HSV infection. Jagsmere is also useful. This is the picture showing the spiral organisms. These are nothing but the spirochetes, which are bright against the dark background, which is examined by using the dark ground microscope. If you see the bacterial vaginosis, already told in the first slide, this is a syndrome characterized by increased homogeneous white discharge from vagina and frothy, white malodorous foul-smelling discharge as rodent fishy smell. Here it is diagnosed by there is an increase in the pH. There is an increase in the pH that is more than 4.5. In case of usually the vaginal pH is less than 4.5. If the woman is infected with this Gardnerella vaginalis, there may be an increase in the vaginal. There is an increase in the pH that is more than 4.5. Under the gram stain picture, we'll see the clue cells also along with the few pus cells only. These clue cells are nothing but the vaginal epithelial cells which are studded with the gram-negative bacilli. They may be pleomorphic or curved in nature, and these are the important. This is an important characteristic feature of the bacterial vaginosis. Usually, this vaginal discharge is usually the usually the normal flora of the vagina is usually contains the lactobacilli. But in this case, bacterial vaginosis, this lactobacilli is replaced by this Gardnerella vaginalis, Mobilincus bacterial species, like that. Amine test is also used for the diagnosis of the bacterial vaginosis. This is about the bacterial vaginosis. This may be given as a short notes in your exam. This is the picture showing. This is the picture showing the white discharge coming from the vaginal area, and this is the picture showing the here it contains. The picture showing the vaginal epithelial cells is studded with the gram-negative bacilli. Gram-negative bacilli. Here the picture showing gram-positive bacilli, but usually these squamous epithelial cells are studded, profusely studded with gram-negative bacilli. They may be pleomorphic or curved in nature. And next one is genital warts. These genital warts are usually caused by human papillomavirus. Human papillomavirus serotypes like 6, 11, 16, 18, 30, 31, 33, 39, 55. These are some of the serotypes responsible for the HPV. And the condition is known as condyloma acuminata. The sites of occurrence in women is vulva, vagina, and cervix. In case of men, shaft of penis, perianal skin area, and near the anal canal area. These genital warts are usually seen. This condition is usually diagnosed by using the molecular technique, that is PCR, and detection of the inclusion bodies of HPV by means of cytological and histological examination of cells in the urine. This is a picture showing the genital wart in men. Okay, near the groin area, and genital warts in men, women. And what is this? What is this PID? PID is nothing but a pelvic inflammatory disease. It's a group of conditions. It's a clinical syndrome in women. It's a various combination of the endometritis, salpingitis, parametritis, urethritis, and pelvic peritonitis resulting from ascending genital infection. Okay, ascending genital infection is nothing but the infection from the genital area spreads to the pelvic organs, resulting in the PID. This ascending infection usually caused by sexually active adults and women. The causative agents are chlamydia, chlamydia trachomatis, Neisseria gonorrhea, and Mycoplasma bovis. These are the most common causative agents for PID. Diagnosis is usually made by endocervical discharge, which may show Neisseria gonorrhea under the Gram-Stein picture, in Gram-Stein picture, chlamydial inclusion bodies in bright Giemsa stain. This is the picture showing this side tube is normal. Here this tube shows a scarring and is swollen, nephritis. Okay. So entry from the vaginal area causes ascending infection leading to pelvic inflammatory diseases. This is another picture showing adhesions. Adhesions is mainly due to pelvic inflammatory disease and hydrosalpinx. Hydrosalpinx is nothing but the swollen fallopian tubes. And this is a picture showing the cervix area. This is cervix. Chlamydial cervicitis. There is an inflammation. So erythematous in nature, and there is an inflamed cervix. Okay, thank you. This completes the sexually transmitted diseases. You must remember mainly you have to remember the classification of the sexually transmitted diseases, what I told in first slides, and bacterial vaginosis. These are the important topic in the STD. Thank you.